Howdy, Team 42. It's your skipper here at Darius Delta, present our macro minute for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. As always, we'll start with the executive summary from today's leadoff morning note. If you would like to review the analysis supporting these conclusions and to see if you need to make any changes in your portfolio to remain on the right side of market risk, you need to be a client of 42 Macro. So today's key macro question is, when will the Fed revise its inflation target higher? Our answer: Chinese battery producer CATL's highly successful capital raise in Hong Kong is supportive of our view that the US and China are headed for a somewhat amicable divorce over the next few years, leaving behind a multipolar world that may require a significant reduction in the US's $26 trillion net international investment deficit, now an unsettling two-thirds of US GDP and a fifth of global GDP. In our view, the most underappreciated upside risk in the economy and asset markets will be replacing the current tired line of orthodox U.S. monetary policy thinking with fresh ideas. One fresh idea that we have consistently floated since we introduced our sticky inflation theme in January of 2022 is a 100 basis point positive revision to the Fed's 2% inflation target. This would allow the Fed to fill the capital void left behind by China. Specifically, a 3% inflation target would accomplish 5 very important policy goals for the Trump administration. Number 1, credibility in the bond market. Number 2, a significant reduction in the policy rate. Number 3, trillions of savings on net interest. Number 4, lower real interest rates across the curve. And number 5, less crowding out of the U.S. private sector by Uncle Sam. The Fed that takes pressure off investors from having to capitalize the Treasury bond market frees up trillions in private capital that can be redeployed into a reflexive credit cycle for consumers and businesses left behind by President Biden's K-shaped paradigm A. A positive revision to the Fed's increasingly impractical 2% inflation target is not an admission of defeat. Rather, it's an admission of the reality of populist economics. And the sooner the Fed accepts reality, the sooner they'll get on board with supporting the Trump administration's stated desire for a golden age for working class American families. Transition to our 42 macro dashboard. As always, we'll wrap up the question from our community. This one's not really a question, but some elements of the comment that I think are worth unpacking. So let me just read it. Says, thank you, Darius, for giving voice to what frustrates me the most about how financial and monetary matters are handled by our elected representatives. Their inability or willful ignorance to see the forest through the trees. I hope your message resonates with the powers that be, as one of the many who've been priced out of liquid asset markets, priced out of credit markets, and given a limited playing field upon which to grow a business after decades of negative growth in industrial policy. I, for one, am hoping that policy ideals like yours are given a chance to succeed. Thank you. Appreciate that. Going back to reading this, it says, I never wanted to be a tech pro, a real estate tycoon, or have anything to do with financial markets. But these are the cards I've been dealt, so I'm trying to make lemonade out of lemons. Trying to learn how financial markets work is much harder than the physical sciences I learned in university. I've been only at it for 3 years, and I am extremely grateful for KISS. I can trust that KISS will continue to grow my small nest egg while I become more confident in developing my investing skills. Thank you, Darius, for all that you do. Cheers. So thank you very much to the client for the really kind feedback. This is one of the many reasons we built our completely systematic KISS portfolio construction process, is to keep investors investing when it's time to be invested. And there are times to not be invested, and KISS does a great job at that as well. So I'm glad, and again, KISS keeps you having, as an investor, retail investor in particular, better outcomes in your portfolio than you generally would otherwise experience based on your level of experience and acumen and technical know-how alone. Investing is really hard. Maximizing upside capture in bull markets and also minimizing downside capture in bear markets in a way that eliminates volatility drag from your portfolio and allows your portfolio to compound from higher levels of net asset value at higher rates for a longer period of time so that you retire on time and comfortably is really effing hard to do. Everything I just said, rewind everything I just said for the past 30 seconds. That's a lot of stuff that you need to do very consistently in order to retire on time and comfortably. And it blows my mind that so many people think that they can do that without, some form of assistance. We all need assistance in life. I don't do my own teeth. I go to the dentist. I don't grow my own corn. I go to the grocery store, right? You know what I mean? So we all need to have a little bit more humility when it comes to how hard investing is. And ultimately, I think what KISS does, and it certainly does this for me in my own portfolio, is it forces us all of us, the thousands of us around the world that are participating in KISS, it forces us to have humility. It forces us to acknowledge that we don't know everything. It forces us to acknowledge that we have no preordained right to knowing the future is for the economy and asset markets. And it ultimately forces that humility associated with accepting the fact that the market knows more than us at all times, and just generally it allows us to generally participate in what the markets are trying to price in vis-a-vis the trend following overlays that KISS features in the stock, gold, and Bitcoin asset classes. So super proud of KISS, super proud of this client for acknowledging the value of KISS and along their investing journey. And hopefully we'll continue to create really positive outcomes for them as well. But going back to the beginning of this, I think it's really important to kind of just quickly unpack. One of the things I feel very compelled to do as someone who grew up on the bottom 0.1% of the K-shaped U.S. economy, as a Christian man, and as someone who just generally, wants to see people do good, as someone who grew up around people that weren't doing very good, including the folks who lived in my home. God blessed me with a lot of talent, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a business called 42 Macro, and a lot of intellect and a lot of thoughtfulness in order to potentially, at some point, help create better policy outcomes for the people on the bottom part of the K. And so I'm grateful that we're able to use our platform to educate the general investing public, but not just the general investing public. We're educating central bankers. We're educating policymakers. We're educating politicians. Hopefully educating the media, although they continue to keep their heads buried in the sand like I don't exist outside of our friends at Fox Business. How you doing, Charles and Maria? We're going to stay on this mission for a really long period of time because I think we are, helping to change the world for better for the people that have been left behind, the people on the bottom part of the K, the people that grew up, without, skipping meals and not having lights on like we did for many months of my childhood, in and out of homeless shelters, sleeping in cars. These are the things that I've seen with my eyes. And I want to make sure that America, the folks in America on the bottom part of K, and really the rest of the world, it's not just an American thing, have an opportunity to experience a better life for them and their families and their kids. So super grateful that you guys don't mind me using my platform to try to change the world. Obviously, we're here. The primary goal of 42 Macro is to help investors retire on time and comfortably, and or to keep our buy-side clients gainfully employed and earning exorbitant bonuses. That's our primary goal. But a secondary goal, and a very important core secondary goal for me, is to educate the world and try to use that education, that thoughtfulness, that wisdom to make the world a better place. And so we're going to keep doing that. If you guys are supporting of that, let us know. If you don't support that, then we have the best cancellation policy in the world. 100% of our clients can cancel anytime without penalty. 100% of them. You know why? We don't want anyone here inside of our paywall that does not appreciate the immense value that we are creating in their portfolios and the immense value that we're creating in their lives vis-a-vis helping them learn these very complicated, esoteric, high-level financial and economic concepts, but also the value that we're creating in reducing the amount of stress that they feel in their investing activity, and ultimately giving them time back so they can go spend more time with their family, more time doing the Lord's work in their community, and less time, chugging financial media noise on finance Twitter and listening to a bunch of finance podcasts and get whipped around by a bunch of talking heads. So hopefully that resonates. If it doesn't resonate, then who cares? See you guys back here tomorrow. Darius still here presenting our Macro Minute for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Best of luck out there today. Catch you back here tomorrow. Cheers.